Welcome to Soul Tribe Search Party, your go-to space for real talk, deep reflections, and unfiltered life moments. I'm your host, Breezy, and here we keep it raw, soulful, and authentic. Hit that subscribe button, and let's dive in. Hey y'all, greetings. I am trying to break out of my shell on recording myself and being comfortable with it. This is that video. This is the video, okay? And honestly, I have totally been struggling with the content side of things. I've said this before, but I can literally talk to myself all day. See, this is why I cannot look at the camera, because then I can be more in character versus like when I'm sitting here looking at the camera, okay? So yes, I'm not gonna look at the camera while I'm talking. Trying to still figure out what avenue I want my content to be, because honestly, I don't want to do what is trending. I don't want to do like what has worked for everybody else, and I think that is the part that I struggle with the most, because it's like, yeah, you can monetize if you keep up with the trends and everything of what's going on, but I don't keep up with anything. I am actually, if Mind Your Business was a person, I definitely just do what I feel like each day, and I'm not really ever in tune with stuff that's going on. Today I had the realization I've been having all of this energy towards, the legacy that I want to leave behind for my son. Honestly, since being a mom, that has been my whole drive, has been like, oh my gosh, well, now that I have my son, I have to actually be something. Before, the life that I was living I was just free spirited. I'm doing whatever. I'm traveling. I'm just living life, which is awesome. But then when you have a kid, then your world transforms, because it's like your whole life kind of slows down in a sense, because more than likely you're the primary parent. That's not always the case, but more than likely you are. Everything had changed with me as far as even when I was pregnant, I'm working a job consistently, which is not me. But I'm working a job consistently to make sure that I can provide for my son. And then once I had him, I quit, and I had focused full time into being a mom. But then I also had the realization, I am not the trendy stay-at-home mom. I'm doing the laundry, washing the dishes. That whole routine is so tired to me as well. Even though yes, of course you want to keep a clean house, because I feel like your home reflects your mind, So if you don't have a clear space, then obviously you cannot think clearly, you just have more, I don't know. You just got to make sure that you keep a clear space, though, so that your mind can be clear. You're less susceptible to energies, latching on to you, so that you can be effective for yourself. So I'm not that, and the only social media app I like to use is TikTok. So it's just it's easy to get lost in the sauce when you're on TikTok, and you might come across some videos of the trendy moms talking about the schedules and how they do stuff. And really, you have to be able to disassociate early. You have to be able to acknowledge yes, this is what this mom did, but that's not what you have to do. You don't have to follow suit with anything that anybody else is doing. You just be present in what you have going on in your situation and do what works for you. And it's not going to work for everybody. I find that I keep me and my son very isolated. I don't bring him around a lot of people. My reasoning behind it is because why? People don't ask about him. People are not checking in. People are not doing for him as they want to show up in his life, And so I feel just as a mom or as a parent, I'm not going to go above and beyond and be throwing my son in people's faces. Like, look at my son, look at my son, and take him around everywhere, do everything with him. So like a lot of times when my friends do see me, they'll be like, "Oh, girl, you ain't never got your son." Facts. He is with his other parent, or, he's with his family, his grandparents. He's with people that literally will just take him off my hands because they want to spend time with him. And I'm not saying like, oh, like this is not like me taking anything personally when I'm saying any of this. This is just simple logic as far as, yes, my son does not have to tag along with me in everything that I do. I'm taking time to myself. It could be that as well. It just is what it is. That wasn't my main focus of everything that was on my mind today. It's just a thought. So the basis of that is just, being a parent is interesting. It's interesting. It's a new life, and you got to get in where you fit in. You got to figure your new self out, because yes, you're basically a whole new human being. As far as women go, like, our bodies are different. My face has been like so inflamed lately from my perspective. I battle in between the, oh, I'm happy with how I look, I created a human, this is what is going on. And then I have the extreme of, oh Lord, you are looking crazy as hell today. But both days, I'm okay with it. It's just, I be saying shit. I just be saying shit to myself. And I mean, that's not the sole purpose of like why I don't like to record myself or anything. It's just like, recording yourself physically is just weird, right? Like, the internet is weird. Yeah, sometimes we can tend to just hide ourselves from people because it makes you like less susceptible to judgments and what the NPCs and the bots are in the chats talking about. Nobody really wants to have to deal with that, but honestly, in life, you can't avoid stuff. You can't avoid anything, so you just have to do and not be afraid, right? Yeah, so I was saying all of this to circle back to my main thing being, I have been in this hustle culture for so long, always trying to get some money, always trying to figure out what my purpose is in life. Like, I'm just always chasing something. And I just had the realization, I keep thinking that my alignment is supposed to be me going down a certain avenue of, oh, I'm supposed to be a content creator or something like that, like something of that nature. But like, honestly, what if my alignment is just nothing? I don't want to post on TikTok every day, so don't. I don't want to work every day, so don't. Whatever your day is set up for you to do, then do that in that moment. Does that make sense? Why do we sit here and focus so much on, maybe your goal is to make $700 for the end of this week? Why are we chasing $700 for the end of the week? What happens if we only make two? We only made $200 this week because shit, we only felt like stepping out and doing so much this week. We actually spent the rest of the time chilling, being in the house. Like, the stuff that we were doing on a daily basis didn't require money, so we weren't worried about it. Or what if that's it? And I know like a lot of us stress about the whole, well, we got to survive. We got to survive. It is so hard to get out of that mindset, right? It is so hard to get out of that mindset. It is hard for people to grasp the concept that there's two sides of a coin. There's two sides of a coin. And when a lot of people are chasing wealth, right? A lot of people want to be physically rich. They want whatever lifestyle that they're chasing as far as cars, clothes, status. But those are physicalities, those are illusions. When in reality, it's like the only thing that actually matters in our life is to be present. As a mom, I also struggle with, I got to build like my money up for my son so that, if I leave, he has all this. There are some people that don't even make it out the emergency room when they have their kids. There are some people that their kid doesn't even live a day. Like, isn't that crazy? We tell ourselves we need all of these things. That gives us status, that makes us somebody, right? If that was you, how would you feel? If you passed away giving birth to your kid and your kid succeeded you, how would you feel? You can't feel a way. You wouldn't even know what way you would feel. Like, obviously, as we're sitting right here, we haven't even experienced the other side, or some of us have, depends how in tune you are, but, we haven't even experienced that other side, but yet we're telling ourselves, oh, I would be upset that I couldn't do this, that, and the third. But it's like, the reality is, you would just have to be content, right? You would have to make peace with that. Just like your kid would have to make peace with the fact they went through their whole life without you, without that experience, without, that relationship. Some people, their kids succeeded them and their kids got all this money. Some people, their kids succeeded them and they had no money. But regardless of the fact, those kids had different lives. The kid that had the most money probably lived the most depressing life versus the kid that had no money, because their parents didn't succeed them. They could have became a fucking millionaire because they decided young, like, they gonna take ownership of their life. They're gonna do this, they've made peace with everything. They got their shit together or something, And that is why we have to live life in the present moment. And for a lot of people, it is hard for them to grasp that concept because, like, it is more entertaining to them, or I don't want to say entertaining, but it is easier to hold on to the victimized mindset and the negative aspects of things because that's where everybody else is at. And that's where you're going to fit in the most. You're going to get people that sympathize with you more about these said things than you are about people that are going to go against the grain with you. And honestly, that's why things can seem very lonely to a lot of people, because when you're going against the grain, it's unpopular opinions. It's people going to look at you crazy. You're boring. You're all these things. But it's just you reflecting. You're literally just always reflecting back to these people their internal selves that they are struggling with. I know personally something that I do struggle with. I'll focus too much on people's flaws, or what I deem as their flaws, right? Or I focus too much on what I feel people should be doing because I see their potential, right? But who am I? Who am I to tell you who you're supposed to be? Just because I see you living in a cycle, yes, I can identify that you're in a cycle, just like you probably could identify if I was in a cycle. Maybe. It doesn't mean that one is better than the other, right? What if that person was to become what you told them that they were supposed to become? Would they be happy? If I'm telling you, oh yeah, like, I can see you now, you're the CEO of a company and blah, 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 blah. But this person feels the most comfortable in the back seat because they don't want all that attention. They just like to chill. But they go out and they live that life because they felt like that would please you. That makes you happy. But now they're not. The purpose has always been to focus on yourself, no matter what situation you're in, no matter who you're with. That's why being rich is not just a physicality. Being rich applies to your relationships. It applies to your internal world, your health. Do you wake up every day and choose the life that you want to live? That's rich. Because a lot of people are not even consciously aware that they can do that. So they don't. It's just crazy that we have been so conditioned about just all these things in life. And it's so hard for people to break out of those things because people just swear it's this or nothing. And that's because if what they believe started to crumble, they literally would not have any other self-identifiers. And that would cause chaos. I believe that is what a lot of people deem as going through that psychosis. It's a lot of time when people go through that, it can result in death. And that's just simply because opening up your mind that wide is just what the fuck? And especially if you have no grounding, if you don't know yourself, if that makes sense. Because, a lot of people choose to live in false realities. They choose that. People walk around every day talking about how real they are, except they forget they're living false realities because they only want it to be real to a certain extent or to what's normal. But I think we all could admit that there's a lot of crazy stuff, being portrayed on social media that's going on in the world. But it's honestly, just like Kendrick said, turn the TV off. Turn the TV off, go outside, be in your present moment, listen to my podcast, watch my YouTube. Literally, if you get off your phone, that is why I also struggle with, how much of a content creator do I even want to be? Because I don't want to stay clocked in, to gain attention, to be able to monetize something, living up to other people's expectations. That's not what I want to do every day. A lot of people say you can get money from it. There's opportunity in the advancement of the world through technology. And it's you can get on the wave or you could just not give a fuck. And I struggle in between those two depths. For the most part, I just don't want to give a fuck. But then at the same time, I'm I am deserving. Of course, nobody wants to live their life paycheck to paycheck or living somewhere that they just got to settle for. If you drive down neighborhoods and you man, that's a nice ass house. If you don't pull up to your own crib and you yeah, this shit cool as hell. Or if you don't walk in your house and you're happy with it, then that means you're not living up to your true self. You're settling. You are settling. Honestly, there's so many people out here trying to sell a dream about get rich quick shit. And that's another part that is so stressful to me about social media is because you just see this shit is so obvious, right? But it's when you scroll through the comments of stuff, it obviously is not obvious enough for a lot of people still. Those are the bots. Those are the NPCs that they're supposed to fall in line with that. Of course, people are gonna agree with stuff like this. That's the play, though. They are trying to suck you in to being a consumer for them, that they are deeming it as they can guarantee that you can make money from what they have to offer, even though it's going to be the most bare minimum shit. It's going to be the most like bland ass, they might be able to help you get a couple dollars, but if anything, it made you realize what the play actually is. The play is to learn a skill real quick and then go flip that and sell it back to the people. Everybody does it. Even people in this quote unquote spiritual world. Like, they put out all this information for you about stuff, get people interested in it because people can relate to it. There's a problem, they can solve it. Allegedly. And then they're like, yeah, buy my book, buy my course. That's the only way I can tell you. Not all of that stuff is always negative, because when it comes to money, it is an energy exchange. So it's like, yes, we do understand that we're in a 3D world. We have to maintain our physical. You have to use your discernment, which if you're taking care of yourself, that's something that you become in alignment with, you become one with it instead of second guessing it all the time. But you use your discernment. You'll be tapped in with the ones that are like, is this somebody that is watering my cup? If you're telling me if I spend $1,000 on this, the experience that I get out of it is going to be everything I needed it to be. If you can accept that, then that is a positive energy exchange for you, in my belief anyway. But if it's like somebody wanted you to pay $1,000 for the class and they got all these things listed of what the class has to offer, and it's like, well, if I only need like 2-3 things off this list, maybe that was a bad example. The gist of it, use your discernment and exchange energy with the right people. You'll know when it's a bad energy exchange, because once you start just losing money or, things are not working out for you, things aren't making sense anymore, you're confused. And that's in all aspects. That's not just from using your money. This is in your relationships with people. I don't know, I'm really trying to continue to seek truth within myself, just have a better understanding of what the fuck. And I know some people will be like, life doesn't have to be so serious. Oh, I know, but for me, that's fun. We all have different personalities. That's the thing too. I am the most intrigued about things that mentally stimulate me. Reading books, listening to deeper meaning when it comes to music. Like if you listen to artists like Kendrick, or I like Nipsey Hussle, certain shit that I listen to, it is deep. I just like to find that the core, the truth, the shit that make you think. I don't know what it is, but I feel like the true key to it is balance, right? So of course I have my moments where I'm like, yeah, it ain't gotta be that deep. I have those moments like if I have a negative interaction with somebody or whatever, and I'd be like, yeah, don't take it personally. But then I will flip it and make it deep, because I'm like, what's their traumas? This person's snapping. Now I know there's an underlying meaning. Because to me, that shit is entertaining. But on the surface level, it's like, yeah, walk away from it. Don't react to these people. Don't take it personally. And I do laugh. I play video games. I watch anime. I be chilling. I don't drown myself in vices. Like, I don't need to go out every day to prove something to people. Being at the club, new shoes, new outfit. I used to be like that. I was always into, like, how I looked. And it's cool, but it's like, it takes a lot of energy to keep up with that. It takes a lot of energy to keep up with that. And it's like for temporary feelings, for somebody to be like, oh shit, I fuck with your shoes, or, your fit go crazy, whatever the fuck. It's like, yeah, pump your head up, huh? Your ego. But what does it do for you internally? Like, these people walk away from you. You might have that high for a few more hours. Your ass go home, you still depressed as hell. That is my thoughts for the day while my son sleeps. Obviously, I'm going to continue to figure out my craft as far as how my content will go and what I want to do with myself. Because I'm like, especially if I'm going to be recording myself, I do not want to be on here looking crazy. Yes, I do be chilling every day. When people see me in public, that is my real authentic self. Okay? And can't nobody outdo your real authentic self. On the camera, it be having you look a little bit crazy. It be making you look like you 10 pounds heavier than what you are. You have a double chin. Like, come on, bro. The camera does not have to disrespect you like that. Until next time. That's a wrap for today's episode. If this resonated with you, don't forget to follow, share, and connect with me on YouTube, TikTok, and my website can be found in my bio. Let's keep the convo going.